All right. Here we go. We're finally getting back to conspiratorial narratives. Nefarious Intentions and Persecuted Victims on the Rise of Conspiracy Theories by Sander van der Linden. Aha. So we're going to get to it. On March 30th, 2014, I received an email from one Alan Terrica. He had been reading my work on the psychology of conspiracy theories and decided to send me a link to his detailed website uncovering patterns of a vast conspiracy to conceal or ignore the facts that Shakespeare's famous sonnets were written by somebody else. Yeah, exactly, man. Now we're just going to talk about more conspiracy theories. Who might this be? According to Tarica, all signs point to the Earl of Oxford. In several conversations, Alan tried to convince me that when you read the sonnets from end to beginning, starting with the last poem and working your way back to the first poem, hidden truths are revealed. Oh, that's kind of fun. It's like, playing the record backwards and you hear like demonic voices or whatever. Most of my colleagues don't typically respond to such emails, but I often feel a strong pull, like a deep desire to learn more about what exactly motivates belief in these types of conspiracy theories. It is straight up playing the record backwards, yeah. After a few emails, I sent Alan Terrica a paper about how illusory pattern perception is linked to belief in conspiracy theories. After I googled his name and discovered that Terrica is an anagram for Art CIA, I quickly realized that he had been obsessively emailing and attacking scholars across the board. I told him that this was not my area of expertise, but that I'm sure that the truth is out there. One of his emails to me read as follows. Thanks for the response, but really have to wonder if you find the behavior of fellow academics even remotely acceptable. Of course, the truth is out there, but without a conversation, how are we supposed to get at it? I can assure you I will make this ultimately about the contemptible behavior of those that should be able to make informed comments, and I expect far greater participation from everyone despite their discipline. But if you do nothing else, please pass that along. All the best, Alan. The truth is out there, but that wasn't enough for Alan. He kept emailing, and his last email to me read, "Why don't you try to and refute my conspiracy theory, you useless and outrageous asshole?" It may be that Alan feels marginalized. His views are not being heard, and the scientific community is ignoring him. What Alan doesn't know is that his behavior fits exactly with what we found in one of our latest studies, an investigation into the language of conspiracy. Most studies in this field of research just ask regular people questions about the extent to which they endorse a myriad of conspiracy theories. But we wanted to do something novel, to explain the language used by actual conspiracy theorists to see if there are particular patterns or psycholinguistic features that make conspiracy theorists distinct in the way that they express themselves online. By analyzing the language used in hundreds of thousands of tweets from the most popular conspiracy theorists on Twitter, we found that they express much more negative emotions, particularly anger, compared to their popular science counterparts. Let's see what Rhetheus' riddle is. What can run but never walks, has a mouth but never talks, has a bed but never sleeps, has a head but never weeps? A river! And so Maddie has got this. Aha. That's good. Okay, they also swear and talk much more about other groups and power structures, all of which is reflected in Alan's language. He's angry, he's swearing at others, and he's dismantling what he perceives as unfair power structures. Yeah, this is the thing. People are angry. There's good reason to be pissed off nowadays, and I feel like a lot of it's misdirected, but like, that's kind of the point. A lot of the people in power want to misdirect people, angry people, and so they do this in some sense. It gets supported. Carnap smash. Exactly. Like, this is the thing. You're trying to get people to actually look at the science, and it's hard. For especially things like this, it's like, come on, you're not looking at what the hard data is. And we're not talking about this stuff like proving God at this point. We're looking like, is the earth round? Like, there is hard data, and you can find that out. It's like, this is the sort of thing that you can talk about and get good results. Okay. But Alan isn't the only conspiracy... well, you know what? Let's see if I can zoom. Yeah, I can. Okay. All right, I can't even read it at that size, though. But Alan isn't the only conspiracy theorist who has harassed me or my colleagues over the years. For example, my close colleague Stefan Lewandowski, professor of cognitive science at the University of Bristol, and his co-authors wrote an article in which they analyzed conspiratorial discussion in the blogosphere about one of their past papers on the psychology of conspiracy theories. Their paper had the wonderfully apt title, Recursive Fury: Conspiracist Ideation in the Blogosphere in Response to Research on Conspiracist Ideation. This is a hilariously good title. Lewandowski found that many of the online arguments against the research in his first paper were also highly conspiratorial in nature. For example, skeptics would accuse him of having a hidden agenda that involved a deliberate attempt to silence the debate. The researchers identified several recurring themes, which, together with our own research, seem to indicate that, in addition to linguistic markers, conspiratorial reasoning has a very predictable signature. If you start examining conspiracy theories, you will notice recurring commonalities in their narrative. For example, conspiracy theories mostly assume evil or nefarious intentions. You knew that guy in college? Wow. Oh no, Frank says. Now it's just the guy who chooses not to walk, talk, sleep, or weep. Good guess though, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know a lot of people, I guess. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. They want to know that there's something bigger out there. And that's what it is a lot of times, is this nefarious intentions. It means that there's something going on. Like there's intentions. The story is typically not that a group of people are colluding in secret to throw you a surprise birthday party. There are virtually no positive conspiracy theories. That's interesting, you know? Wouldn't you think that like people are out there trying to do good work sometimes? Yeah, Maddie says not just bigger, but something negatively impacting their lives specifically. I think that's right, because it goes into the feeling like you know something and it's like affecting you, and so like you have to be involved. It's making the person feel more important again because it's about them, something big about them. Rethia says most of the time you get fucked over by chance, by decisions by people who didn't consider it you at all. Yeah, there's one of those razors I forget. Never attribute to malice what you can attribute to neglect or like random or whatever. That is always like, if you remember that, like I always try to remind myself, this person didn't screw me over, they were just not paying attention, and you find out most of the time that's always what happened. Yeah, indifference, exactly. Don't attribute to malice what can be attributed to indifference. And that's like, I've never gone wrong thinking about that. Yeah, I'm not the main character in their lives, I'm the only main character in my life, and most of the time, most other people couldn't care less what I'm getting up to, and they're not trying to screw me over. Like, I play no part in their lives, for the most part. Maddie says, even if they do consider you, they don't care really. If it helps them more to help you, they'll do that, and vice versa. Yeah, exactly. People are generally too wrapped up in their own lives. Like all of you out there, all of you. You've all got problems. We've all got lives. We've all got families. We've all got things going on. The idea that like and that's the same for everyone else. Everyone's got all this like crap going on in their lives. That someone is spending time to like try to like fuck over another person. It's extremely rare. It happens. It's very rare. And so the idea that some random person's trying to fuck you over, unlikely. Very unlikely. Yeah, NPCs, yeah. We're all NPCs. Frank says the never attribute malice line is really, really good, but also it's completely valid to denounce harms that weren't malicious. Oh, absolutely. Don't, like, neglect is terrible. Like, indifference and neglect can do a lot of bad, and so you should call it out if people are just, like, screwing you over. But, like, to think, like, they're intentionally doing it is usually wrong. That doesn't mean that, like, the indifference and, like, neglect is good either. It's not. You guys got lives? Well, we all got shit going on. I don't know about lives, but we all got shit going on, Tindarios. Rethia says, if you have it coming after you, you probably know why in general. That's another thing, yeah. If people are coming after you, like, you might have, like, there might be a good reason. But yeah. You have, like, 5 or 6 all inside your head? Yeah. yeah, I know, Tindarios. I know we got shit. It's like, it happens. Yeah. So there are virtually no positive conspiracy theories. But that's always nice. You could do a favor for someone you don't know and have them be all happy. That happens sometimes. Then they'll believe in God. Like someone's out looking out for them. They got angels. To help people spot the conspiracy effect in everyday life, my colleagues Stephen Lewandowski, John Cook, Ulrich Ecker, and I like to use a guideline that ties everything we've just learned about the conspiratorial worldview together into the 7 traits of conspiratorial thinking using CONSPIRE as an acronym, which stands for contradictory, overriding suspicion, nefarious intent, something must be wrong, persecuted victim, immunity to evidence, and reinterpreting randomness. Yeah, this reinterpreting randomness is going to be interesting. Yeah, Raffle, exactly. We can see each of these traits at play in the now infamous viral conspiracy theory video, Plandemic, the Hidden Agenda Behind COVID-19. The film premiered on YouTube on 4 May 2020 and featured an interview with a discredited medical researcher, Judy Mikovits, who advances all sorts of conspiratorial claims about the pandemic, including that the virus was bioengineered and the false notion that wearing the mask literally activates your own virus. Maddie says it'd be interesting to consider these with Umberto Eco's fascism definition. Yes. I haven't read that in a while. I can't even remember off the top of my head, but I have read that. The video garnered millions of views in the 2 days it was online before YouTube officially took it down. Studies showed that exposure to the video damaged public support for vaccination programs. It's the conspiracy effect in action, where even brief exposure to conspiracy theories can harm public debate. Plandemic exhibits all the classic conspire traits. First, conspiracy theories are nearly always characterized by internal contradictions. In the Plandemic narrative, the logical inconsistencies emerge quickly as the film advances 2 false origin stories at the same time. The first describes COVID-19 as having been bioengineered in a lab in Wuhan, whilst the second explanation comes from the fact that everyone apparently already had the virus from earlier vaccinations and that by wearing masks they are activating it. Which is it? This is clearly contradictory. This sounds like it was written by Hideo Kojima. Yes, we're all in a Solid Snake story. Next, by their... What is that? Yeah, I'm right about Solid Snake. It's Metal Gear Solid. There we go. I know things. Yeah. Next, by their very nature, conspiracy theories are deeply wary of their official narrative. An overriding suspicion is advanced in Plandemic that casts doubt on mainstream science and just about anyone who is involved in the official explanation, including the World Health Organization and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Question everything. But the conspirators in question must also have sinister intentions. Nefarious intent is an explicit theme that characterizes most conspiracy theories and much of Plandemic. For example, according to the film, evil scientists, including Anthony Fauci, who leads the White House COVID-19 task force, apparently created the pandemic for profit and by extension killed hundreds of thousands of people in the process. When challenged, conspiracy theorists have no problem abandoning specific aspects of their theory, yet something must be wrong, which fits with the possibility of an even larger conspiracy that could explain the inconsistency. For example, when Plandemic filmmaker Mickey Willis was asked if he honestly believed that COVID-19 was engineered for profit, he replied, "I have no idea. All he knows is that something is not right." A good conspiracy theory must also feature a persecuted victim. In particular, conspiracy theorists have a tendency to view themselves as marginalized victims of a conspiracy concocted by powerful elites. Alan is the victim of a powerful cabal of humanities scholars protecting the false origins of Shakespeare's sonnets. I like that one. People are trying to, hide Shakespeare's identity. Who gives a fuck? But yeah. In the Plandemic video, the creators even go as far as suggesting that the whole world has fallen victim to a vast web of deception that is the COVID-19 pandemic. If you think about it, if someone is plotting to do harm, then there must be a potential victim as well. The two often go hand in hand. Unfortunately, conspiracy theories are often entirely immune to evidence. I know I said earlier that almost nobody is immune to evidence, but conspiracy theorists might just be the exception. When you ask why there is no proof for the conspiracy, they will usually say that's because the conspirators did such a good job of covering it up. What's more, challenging the conspiracy is just further evidence that you must be part of it all. The last trait involves illusory pattern of perception, reinterpreting random events and imbuing them with substantive meaning. I sent Alan Tarika the article on the link between illusory pattern perception and conspiratorial thinking because I honestly felt he was seeing patterns in the sonnets where there are none. Maddie says, One of the biggest creators of modern cryptography was originally hired to prove that Shakespeare wasn't Shakespeare. She and her husband realized that there wasn't anything to the theory. Ah, fun. Yeah, I mean, you're probably doing some sort of a statistical analysis on that, which is sort of like cryptography. But yeah, this is one of those things. Like, I'm sure when she said there was nothing to it, like there was no way to, the person who hired her was like, no, you have to be wrong. Yeah, but this is one of the things, also. People always have conspiracies about these, facts about the world. They want to know something about like Shakespeare, somebody important, a fact about history, and it's not the case. Like, why would you like? Shakespeare is like famous for all the reasons that Shakespeare is famous. There's no conspiracy there. But like again, people want to like know something special, be somebody special. The pandemic video is no different. It mentions in a suggestive tone that the U.S. National Institutes of Health, the NIH, funded the Wuhan Institute of Virology of China. Coincidence? Oh, I love this. The idea that the Chinese government was taking U.S. money. It's like, I've heard that before. I'm just like, yeah, do you have any idea how like suspicious the Chinese government would be of like U.S. money in Wuhan doing stuff? Like, that makes no sense. Yeah, like it was a big U.S. aid campaign. It's like, yeah, no. I mean, I've heard people like still saying maybe it was made in a lab in China. I don't care. Like, there's a lot of evidence against that, and the idea that you're ever gonna find out now, like the Chinese have completely cleaned it if they are. And so the idea that like there's a conspiracy theory, it's like no. And even if it was true, you'd never find out. So it's like, why don't you take it at face value? It's just like, can't do that. They have to. The video that they talked about earlier, the pandemic one, the one that cast doubt on the that COVID-19 was a big hoax. The author says, yes, in fact, it is well known that the NIH funds many labs around the world. The 5G conspiracy displays a very similar tendency where coronavirus hotspots and the location of 5G masts are suddenly causally connected as part of a sinister plot, even though a third factor can readily explain the increased presence of both phone mass and disease outbreaks, population density. Yeah. Maddie says there are biologists on Twitch who have spent untold hours streaming disproving all of this just on a biology level. I know. It's like people are thinking that like they have some sort of understanding of like the biology here. It's like they don't. And like the scientists have said it. And it's like even if they didn't say it, it wouldn't matter. You can't know these things. Like, I love it. It's like, oh yeah, there's a lab in China. How the fuck would you know what a lab in China is doing? Yeah, they're still streaming. Like, this is people in the Ministry of Science have gone over this. The Ministry of Science is a like group on Twitch that is science-based stuff. Yeah, what's it called? Homozygote. I don't know if he did it, but he does a lot of. I think this is how to do it. Yeah, that's it. So you could go check out Homozygote, and he's part of the Ministry of Science. They have a bunch of people who are scientists that, do science news and reporting and stuff like that. And so you can go ask them about all these things that, frankly, I am not qualified to talk about. Like, I talk about the epistemology here. Like, it's ridiculous to believe that there is a lab in Wuhan that did this. Like, it's ridiculous. I don't know the science, so I can't tell you that. I can just tell you that the ones who do know that say it isn't a science, it isn't from a lab. But, like, I can tell you it's still ridiculous to believe that it was made in a lab. Valpo says he hosts the Ministry Tuesday nights, and also some streamers with relevant backgrounds. Yeah, see, this is the thing. It's like, you can go check him out. You'll find out, like, these are the people who know the science. I don't know the science. I can tell you about the theory of knowledge that says believing that it was a lab in Wuhan is stupid. Maddie says Dr. Neuro and Homozygote are two of the best ones to get into. Yeah, Homozygote's, like, really solid. I watch him sometimes. Like at Gremlo is a politics guy with a sociology background. Yeah, they can give you other people. Yeah, Neuro is great. See, this is the thing. Like, we have people here on Twitch that, like, you can ask, and they will point you at all the evidence. It's not a question. Say his name 3 times, it'll show up on screen. Is that Beetlejuicing? Yeah, no. So, or Candyman for that matter. I don't know. I don't actually have like that big of a reach. I'm thankful for everyone in chat, but I don't have like a huge reach, so I don't actually get a ton of people. He has some kind of flag set up for it. Dr. Neuro, Dr. Neuro, Dr. Neuro. Maybe if you guys post it as like chat, but I can't even imagine how that would work. Yeah. Okay. You can even see the same patterns in action when you ask people to make up conspiracy theories on the spot. In our Conspire... yeah, don't do that, Tindarius. You're going to scare me. It's like, oh yeah, like the door was moving. Oh my God. Trust you. You know, I don't think anyone's ever actually knocked on that door. I mean, they know I'm streaming, but there are people here sometimes. And it's like, it could happen. In our Conspire study, we tasked people in the United States of... in the U.S. state of Georgia to come up with their own conspiracy theories about the increasing COVID-19 cases following the relaxation of lockdown measures in May of 2020. Conspiracies range from the government elite wants to kill as many as people as possible, that's a nefarious intention, to the Democrats have invented the coronavirus so that they can eliminate wealthy older voters, and that's a persecuted victim one. The reason why conspiracy theories spread so easily is because they are psychologically attractive. They offer simple explanations for complex events. Yeah, this is a big deal. They restore a sense of agency and control in a world increasingly filled with chaos and uncertainty. Yeah, this is the thing. Things are not so good right now, in general. Once that happens, people have to go and, simplify their lives because things are complicated elsewhere. Yeah, and you go for the simple explanation sometimes because it's just too many things to keep track of to say, oh yeah, it's this like super complicated medical problem plus all the other problems I have in my life. Demand for the kind of narratives that Nodal, Bob, Tarika, and Mikovits have to offer is increasing. And importantly, what's so dangerous about this is that once the conspiracy effect takes hold, it won't let go. It latches on like a real virus and reproduces fast and efficiently. Before you know it, you no longer believe in one conspiracy theory, but two or three, and you start to see the larger picture. It's all connected. Moreover, we don't need the whole population operating on the extreme side of the post-truth danger spectrum in order to undermine the status of facts in democracy. This is a common misperception. Many influential elections are decided on narrow margins. Fake news just needs to dupe a few people. Study after study has shown that the people who spread the most fake news are highly politically active. They're extreme, they're motivated, they're super spreaders. They are not most people. Yeah. Oh, Dean Amber's the other Ministry of Science regular? Okay, cool. Unreal Brian says, I have a coworker I talk to a lot, but he's a right-wing nut. In March 2020, he was saying that the virus threat would magically disappear after the election. I don't think he's admitted that was wrong, even to himself. Yeah. I heard a bunch of people saying, oh, as soon as the election's over, it'll be gone. Because once the Democrats are in power, it'll be over, and like that'll be the whole thing. Yeah, that's not what happened at all. And so it's like... it's hard to admit you're wrong, and what happens is I think they just kick the can. They said, oh, they had some other reason to continue the narrative. So even though we really believed that it was a Democratic thing at first, then they just found some new reason afterwards because they need a explanation. But what if conspiracies are becoming more common? In May 2022, I was asked this question by members of the Subcommittee on Intelligence and Counterterrorism of the United States Congress House of Representatives. I told them that we know that extremist organizations are more likely to use conspiratorial narratives in their writings to attract new followers, and that more studies are documenting a link between belief in conspiracy theories and the endorsement of political violence. But is it true that more people than ever are embracing them? In 2021, over 20% of those polled in over 20 countries think that a single group of people control world events. However, such information by itself doesn't tell us whether that is high or low, at least historically speaking. Unfortunately, it's a difficult question to answer as very little global trend data is available. We have only reliable but often not consistently tracked public belief in conspiracy theories for a few decades. What if conspiracy theories are just made up to sell more tinfoil? That's the tinfoil hat theory, isn't it? Very good, Unreal Brian. Yeah, I mean, and this all is all going to come back to, it's the Jews! This has been going on forever, this sort of thing. Like, oh yeah, we've got like these evil people in charge. Garbage. A colleague of mine, Joseph Usinski, professor of political science at the University of Miami, used to visit me in Cambridge with his summer school students to discuss latest research on conspiracy theories. He often notes that every few years the media declares another golden age of conspiracy. Joe is skeptical. After all, he did conspiracy. What are you doing, stupid machine? All right. After all, did conspiracy theories not lead people to burn witches at the stake for being in cahoots with Satan, or cause the persecution of millions of Jews during the Second World War? Are things really worse now? He makes a valid point. In one study, Joe examined public belief in about 37 conspiracy theories between 1966 and 2020 and finds that while endorsement of some conspiracy theories has increased, belief in others has decreased or remained fairly stable over time. Okay, so maybe there's just a level that we like to have, like where a certain group of the population will just believe in general, you know? That's a thing. Maybe that we just like believing at this sort of level. Some of us don't believe it, and then, some people do. Joe has an interesting theory, though, namely that conspiracy theories are for losers. What he means is that those out of political power are typically more likely to espouse conspiracy theories about those in power, and indeed, empirical research across many countries shows that support for the idea of conspiratorial thinking on average is higher for supporters of political parties who are currently not in power, especially on the far right. And the far right has been losing in the past. Maddie says they burn out. Well, as conspiracy theories burn out, others come along. Yeah, but they're often in power. Yeah, I mean, the far right likes them, and they are often in power, but they weren't up until kind of recently. They've been coming back. But yeah. So, but I guess the far right maybe likes them better. Yeah, that might be a thing. Several scholars, including myself, think that although this is definitely a piece of the puzzle, the trend is much broader, so that endorsement of conspiracy theories seems to fluctuate more generally as a function of societal and political unrest. Oh, dear. Voice is starting to go. They reinforce the idea that they're the out-group victims even as they continue to have huge powers and control. That's fair. There's a lot of power in being like, we're the victims, as the author was saying. So once you're in a victim group, it's a sense of community, and then you can act as a block, and it's very powerful. Okay. For example, Gallup has been tracking the JFK assassination conspiracy since 1963, when it found that 52% of people believed in the conspiracy that others were involved. This number rose to 81% during the most of the 1990s when the popular Oliver Stone film JFK was released, before dropping off again to 61% in 2011. A recent Cambridge YouGov poll surveyed people about the same conspiracy theory for 3 consecutive years. For example, at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, anti-vaccination conspiracies were endorsed by about 13% of the population in the United States, whereas this number jumped to a concerning 33% in 2020, when the coverage about the COVID-19 vaccines started to take off. The basic theory is that whenever we feel uncertain and powerless due to a global crisis or socio-political turmoil, people are more likely to turn to conspiracy theories for psychological comfort and reassurance. These narratives then become part of history through social and cultural transmission. If this is correct, then the massive global challenges we're facing represent the perfect breeding ground for conspiracy theories. In fact, what is clear is that the internet and social media have allowed the social transmission of conspiracy theories to flourish, enter the mainstream, and spread in new and unprecedented ways. Okay, that's it. So, this is a professor of social psychology at Cambridge. Oopsie, wrong way. Okay, so there's a fun little thing. I mean, it's kind of unsurprising. It's playing off the psychology of people, saying, look, when you're in trouble, you look for simpler answers because you have to simplify your life. Simple. And they can there are ways to get people into that mentality. Once you get people thinking, hey, look, you know something and like this is bad and they're out to get you, it feels good. You feel like you know something. You feel like you're special, like you've been targeted. And it's like it's got all these psychological factors that get you. And it's hard to get out of that. Like once you're feeling good about yourself, like you know something, you're feeling special, and like other people are just like keeping you down. It's like, well, I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to fight. I'm going to, give them hell. So, is the question. It's a psychological thing. Is there an epistemic thing here too? Like, is there something to know about the world? Yeah, the danger of having no good epistemology. Absolutely, because that's exactly what it comes down to, is that you start to loosen up your epistemic basis, like your epistemic ground, like what you actually think you know. And you're doing this for various psychological reasons, or like, when you're stressed out, you can't put the same amount of time and effort in you might want to put in if you were feeling okay. And it's it's putting your epistemology, how you understand what you know, on shaky grounds. It's like anything else. And then all the psychological aspects come into that. And you can get yourself sucked into one of these things. It's like, we can't all be Ivan Neo and like perfect Bayesians. Like, we'd love to be perfect Bayesians like Ivan, but we just can't all do it. So, but like, that's the thing. You have to stick to the epistemic guns. Like, you have to. And that's not how like real people are, though. We are not like Bayesian machines. We have lives, we have psychologies, and it's harder for that stuff. Valpo says your friend Rob has a paper about how formal logic knowledge of fallacies doesn't help and might hurt our ability to grapple with conspiracy theories. That's interesting. I wonder why it would hurt. Like, I'm not actually surprised it doesn't help a lot, because, people want to believe whatever they want to believe. This is going to the psychology of it. It's not the logic of it. But like, why would it hurt, actually? I mean, it might actually, I have a theory about that. The guy at work who was a bit into QAnon, he was a very smart dude. He was not unintelligent, but he was always sort of thinking he was like smart, like super smart. And he liked that feeling. And so the idea that like he was analyzing other people's stuff for fallacies, he would be like, oh, you don't understand my position, but your position is wrong. He was using it against other people and trying to defend his QAnon theories. And so that was sort of the thing. It was like, the way you actually end up using that stuff will just, like, if you believe the conspiracy theory, you will direct the knowledge and like of fallacies at other people, even though you should be looking at yourself, because like the psychology of it will block off what you like, the critical response. Valpo says, because we want to debate people in the marketplace of ideas, whereas propagandists and conspirators don't need to win to spread their views. That's fair. Like, so yeah, this is the thing. They're just undermining other people's arguments. They don't need to win. They need to not lose. Ivan Neo says, it's by the juice of Sappho that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, and the stains become a warning. What's that from? Very poetic, Ivan. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's the old, a rumor will travel around the world before the truth gets out of bed. You don't need to get people to know the truth. You need to undermine what they were believing, and then all of a sudden the conspiracy theory gains like credence. Like they made space for it. So I would think that like it's because you can always apply logic. You can always apply like argumentation in bad ways. You can deploy it strategically. Like this was we were arguing with Ivan earlier. I was arguing with Ivan earlier. Is that people will just cherry pick arguments, and if they are, ruthless enough, they can continue to cherry pick their arguments even at the level of gods. And so if you're a religious person, you can cherry pick your argument, you can cherry pick your data, and then fine tune it that way. But like if you are sufficiently ruthless, you can keep doing it. And this is what the conspiracy theorists are going to continue to do. And this was Ivan Neal's point, was that it's like conspiracy theory at that point. They're going to cherry pick the data, and they're going to cherry pick the arguments, and they're going to pick apart other people's arguments and not their own. Now, is there any sort of grand truth that I have being a philosopher? No, of course not. So it's like I can just say, well, this is what you're doing. You're cherry picking your arguments. You're doing a fine tuning argument. And they're saying, yeah, that is the way God operates, by fine tuning. That's just a doubling down on it. But like that's what the conspiracy thing says. Why did the QAnon say it? Well, that's what the QAnon person meant, is just what's happening in the world now. It's a cherry picking what they want to see right there, and then they're going to undermine your argument. But that's my guess as what the results were, because in the from Valpo's friend. Yeah, the juice of Sappho. But that's the thing. Like, conspiracy theorists don't always have to win. They just have to screw with other people. Yeah. So, do we have anything else to say? Like, favorite conspiracy theories? Like I said, I was bleak when I was younger. So I didn't have conspiracy theories because I had less knowledge than other people. So, why does it sound so gross? You think NOS, nitrous oxide, might be a juice? What's NOS? Nose? Oh, the energy drink? Oh, yeah. I guess I would go for nitrous oxide, I guess. You love that stuff? I've never had it. Is it good? I've been drinking Advanced GG, the hydration stuff. You might see it it's like sort of like the hydration things get advertised elsewhere on Twitch. It's actually really good. Like I need to drink more water, and that like replaces electrolytes. It's basically like sugar-free Gatorade. Really good. Yeah. So it's like it keeps me actually with enough liquid and electrolytes to keep me going. Otherwise I dehydrate, and I work just fine on dehydration, but I get loopy. Like I'm like I used to be like at this point of the night, I'd be much loopier than I am now. Are we talking about conspiracy theories or pseudoscience? Well, either way. Espresso, yeah, the original energy drink. I try not to drink it too late at night, though. Unreal Brian. Well, I don't know. Whatever you want to say. I mean, I'm not gonna read another paper. My voice is already starting to go. So this is about it. If there's anything else we want to say about pseudoscience or, conspiracy theories, because that's what we've been talking about tonight. Cool. Oh, yeah, we should rate this. Aha. And I screwed this up. I didn't put the title in the little box. So many freaking little things that could happen. Like there. Dagnabbit. I'm losing my head. You like this paper, but it felt more like a general overview. Well, yeah, this is more of a popular publication here. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little vote. We've got a few people here. If you want to rate this paper, because I am now doing the Philosophy Roulette review, and you can all participate. All you got to do is you can take a look at these emotes, and here's the thing. So, you think it's pretty good observations in this paper? So here's what you do. You grab one of these emotes. You can copy it. If you don't see them, you have to grab the Better TTV plugin. But you can just grab the text there. The last two on the yay or the nay, that's like a thumbs up or thumbs down. Those two are basically to say if you like it or dislike it. The other ones are described on the screen. The brain dance, little dancing brain. That one's for it had fun ideas. I think this one did have fun ideas. So it's I would say this had brain dance. Unfortunately, Maddie, I can't grab other people's emotes. I don't have rights to those emotes. So I don't want to use other people's emotes because, I don't have rights to them. But, that's the thing. But if you want to, grab one of my emotes, you can do it. So Ivan gives it a fun with a yay. Yeah, I agree. I think this is a yay. What's it called? The brain dance is fun ideas. Grapes is shriveled up. It had some ideas, but then it failed in execution. This didn't fail in execution. I thought it did basically what it was going to do. The navel is for nasal gazing philosophy. This is more public philosophy, so this doesn't count. Does it have existential content with the scream? That's a good question. No, this didn't really talk about what it meant to be, alive or anything like that. It wasn't talking about art. Maddie says yay, that's good too. The Ouroboros, did it have some sort of ancient mystery? Now this is a question. People have been conspiratorial for a while. And should we count this as saying, something deep about human psychology? To be fair, I'm gonna give it an Ouroboros. Just be nice to it. So, like, what I'm gonna say is this. Also, if you add some text, like if you just add text to this. No, this was definitely not for academics. This is more of a popular magazine. You can say, it's anti-Ouroboros. Why is it anti-Ouroboros? Explain. I mean, this was nothing. Actually, it's true. There was nothing deep here. Well, the deep thing is why people believe in stuff. Actually, you have me convinced. It's not really Ouroboros. I could say nice. Because Ouroboros is mostly conspiracy theory. Yeah, but that's not how I'm using the Ouroboros. I like the Ouroboros. I think it's cool. It's an ancient symbol. Nice. This is a nice popular article about conspiracies. I mean, talking about and psychology. Okay. So what's gonna happen now is all the people who used one of these emotes here will be it'll be recorded, and then I'll publish this up to a site eventually, and I'll have a link to the YouTube video. But thank you for participating. If anyone else wants to get in, do it now or hold your peace. Yeah. So this wasn't sliced. This wasn't a straight up hardcore academic philosophy. We're not slicing and dicing other people's arguments. It wasn't one of these high end analytic philosophies where they try to do something fancy and it's just all crap. That's the poop. But it's had some fun ideas, and it's kind of a thing. I wouldn't give it maybe you could, if you give it more than one stuff, I'll count up how many emotes you do. Yeah, Maddie, it was deep enough for what it was. As far as a popular article goes, it did hit enough good points. It wasn't just a complete overview. But they talked to researchers. They talked to researchers about research that they did, things like that, and then describe the results. This was not the research, but it was describing specific results of the things. Yeah. Oh, why did that not work? Braindance has a small B at the beginning. Sorry. Yeah, so Valpo says Braindance, but yeah, you'd give it an A paper. That's good. Yeah, so Valpo, you gotta give a small B on that. See, can I fix that? I can't fix that right here. But yeah, I'll fix it later after stream if you don't do it. Okay, but thank you all for being here. Let's go see if there's someone available to raid. Thank you, Ivan, for being here. Thanks for the conversation. Let's see who's up. We'll go right in, because that's how we do. Okay, and that's it. So last chance to get a review in right now. And yeah. Okay, that's it. Oh, I think I lost your stuff there, but okay. Thank you for participating. I'll fix it if it doesn't work. We're going to go right in.